Let's alter a scrap envelope and complete our autumn ephemera set. Hello and welcome to the treasured page. I'm Melanie and this is our quiet crafting space. Today I'm back in the craft room completing the set for this junk journal challenge that I've set for October to create a tag with a sliding insert, which is here. Very fun. Look at the bugs. I love it. So if you haven't seen this, do go and check out the previous video for this. This is all in the playlist for Send a Signature 2024. This gorgeous tag is fitting together. I'm really pleased with it. I went a little bit over and above doing some extra things here for my swap partner this month. My swap partner is Jeanette. She's a friend and has been part of the treasured page, supporting the channel for many years now. And I have got her this oversized journaling card, which I'm going to send to her. But I just wanted to tie it all together with this envelope. And I think what I'd like it to do, and certainly the challenge this month, is to alter an envelope so that the tag can fit inside. This is a signature, the sort of thing that has been sent to Jeanette, and I would like to help her embellish her signature. So an envelope that you can get in the post can be decorated, and this portion can be folded back to create something that will wrap around one of the pages and give you a flip. That's one of the possibilities. I'm going to bring you along for the ride. We've got lots of scraps here. I'm also feeling like I need to make a pumpkin because it is that time of the year, so I want to do that. I've been pulling out lots of scraps in this nice orange colour. I've got lots of things here that are reminding me of autumn and fall with some stamps in the right colours. So that could be a pumpkin. And this was the last piece of the file folder that I used to make these. There was another journaling card which has lost itself around the craft room. Hopefully we'll find that in a minute. But that all came out of one file folder, so it's not particularly thick, but I just wanted to use the remaining card up. So I'm thinking pumpkin and envelope today. I've found where I've put it. This is the signature that I'm going to be using for my autumn and fall journal. So it's going to come and live in here in these beautiful pages that have been created for me by the lovely Claire from Portsmouth. So thank you very much for that. So I just want to get myself in the mood. I'm going to loosely draw a pumpkin shape. So let's get an image of a pumpkin in our mind and think, where do we want the stalk? So the stalk is sort of around here, and then the pumpkin is going to be, because I want it a little bit longer, pumpkin is going to be here, so it goes down, then it goes up. Ooh, what a funny pumpkin. All right, it comes around. Doesn't matter about this because we'll probably decorate it. And then I think the stalk wants to be a bit longer. And now I can't remember how a stalk goes. That just goes in, doesn't it? So let's just do that. That's fine. Then it does the lines going down. So we'll just do one going round that way. And then we'll just do one sort of in the middle there like that. That's good enough. That's fine. We'll just cut that out. We'll probably cut it out even bigger. We've got a rough look of a pumpkin. Use up the card, come round. I'm going to decorate it anyway with my scraps, so it's just a guide. And we just come in and we'll come round. I'll give myself a bit more of an allowance. And then I'll come round again. And then back up. And then round that back round like that. There we go. That will work. We'll make it work. Now what I need to just check is, will it fit here? Oh, perfect, perfect. Right, so that's our pumpkin. And will it fit on here? That's the question. Yes. Yes. Just trim a bit off of the side. Okay, now I've got enough to play around with. I can just bring that round again. And will it fit on here? Just about. Yes, it will. So that's fine. So this could be a decorative topper for this envelope or another journaling card. Yeah, I'm bringing in some papers that remind me of autumn. I've got some stamps, I've got some scraps of fabric. I'm just going to very quickly make this up, and then that'll just get me into the mood for my envelope. What I'm going to do is get the glue, put the glue stick all over here, and I'm going to stick down some of my scraps. So I'm liking this yellow paper. I'm just going to put down some bits here, and we'll balance that out over the other side. And then let's have some of this lovely orange colour. We'll just follow the line around there. Just tear up some bits there. There we go. And then I've got this one. So a bit of contrast. This is card, so I'm going to use the green of that card for my stalk. So I'm just going to glue that down, and then we'll cut out the shape again. That's great. And I'm going to use some washi tape. I've got this spotty one too. So bring a bit over there. And what else have we got? And then I've got some of this Chinese paper, Lucky Charm paper. We'll just have a bit of that. So I can start putting nicer things on the top now, which we will see. So I'm going to put that on there. And just carry on like that. Okay, so far so good. Now everything's covered. We've got quite a lot of white showing there, but that's okay. It looks quite fun. I'm going to just check whether I've got anything else that we haven't used. I think we've used all of those. And then I've got some bits here, but it is mainly fabric, so we'll choose some pieces from there in a minute. I think we'll put those out the way. Might want another stamp just for the colour. Maybe that is a good colour. Maybe all of them actually. These are just some vintage stamps. Let's put one over there. Overlapping them, quite fun. All right, there we go. We've got some stamps on there. Some have overlapped just to give a nice collage effect. And then I'm just choosing my most pumpkin-y colours from here. I do like that one. That can come and be there. What else have I got? This is nice. This reminds me of autumn, but I might want to use that for something on the envelope. Let's just use a bit. Just tear a bit off. So we're just having a little look, seeing if I want any of this. I'm not sure I do. We'll come back to that. This is better. Just take some scrap fabric pieces here and add those in. Oh, that's a good bit as well. So I'm just taking these scrap fabric pieces and I'm just using the glue stick to stick them down. You can use Yoo-hoo glue on fabric. It's not a permanent situation, but it will definitely stick them down. And then if you're going to do any sewing or anything like that, that will help. And I think we'll have a bit through here. Now I am covering up the stamps, but you can see them. Okay, so I have covered up that stamp there, but you can see the edging of it, which gives that little detail, just that little bit of interest. And sometimes we don't want to see the whole thing. It's quite nice to cover things up. So that's what I'm doing. Coming round now, just going to put back in my stalk. And then I'm just cutting round some of the overhanging pieces. There we go, looking a bit better now. I'm going to see if I can take a bit of this gold from the centre and add that in there, I think. Just take that gold, just bring that together a bit at the bottom with this image here. All right, and then I think I'd quite like a little piece of this nice scrap. Well, there we go. I think I'm fairly happy with that. I'm just going around the edge with the ink here. This is Rusty Hinge from the Distress range. I've been using that recently for this autumn and fall. Lovely tone, nice colours, just brings it all together. The whole project will then reflect this colour. So I'm just adding that in there as well. And also where it's a little bit white and popping out at me, I'm just going to knock it back with a bit of that colour. A little bit of grunge there, a bit more earthy. There's a bit there that's annoying me. Okay. Okay, now to tie it all together, I'm not sure about that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the lines in with the sewing machine. That's how I'll achieve the lines. And if I didn't have sewing machine, I could hand stitch them round, and if I didn't want to do that, I could glue on some string. Okay, here we have it back from the sewing machine. I've just sort of tethered this bit on. I think I like it. It's just that another texture, so I'm not sure, but it is just thrown around the neck of that pumpkin. That's the back, bit of thread there, doesn't matter. I think it's going to be something that's stuck down, but look at them all, aren't they fun? So that's how that can look, really great. I think that these could even be made into a garland. You could make lots of these and have them hanging around for that lovely autumnal feel. There we go. Okay, so we're going to put those off to one side. What I want to do is make this envelope. Okay, so I got this junk mail envelope here. It's one that's ripped at the top. It's not looking great. It's been through some tea staining or coffee staining, but you know, it's just not very special. So what I'm thinking is that we'll decorate this. I've got some other papers, also not great, but they can be background papers, and then when we start putting our cool little pumpkin on here, we've suddenly got something really autumnal, definitely says October. So that's what we're doing. The other thing I've said is to have a go at making Franken-Paper. Now, anyone who's never heard that term before, if you're familiar with Mary Shelley, the story of Frankenstein, you will know that Franken-Paper takes its name from that story. And it's all about taking scraps of paper, piecing them together, either gluing them or sewing them to create one whole sheet. So that's something that we can look at, but I do want to decorate this and use this as my substrate. It's the right size. I just want a little bit extra. But what I want to do is I want to put a window in it. So we're going to have a look at how to do that and ripping the paper and combining it back again with something else. So this is one of the pieces of paper that I've got. This has come out of a coffee staining and it is really grungy. I've also found some papers here where they are just scraps, offcuts and things like that. I want to orientate it this way, so lengthways, because it needs to come and sit in the journal, and when we're flipping through our signatures we need to have it working and orientating this way. Okay, let's have a look at what we've got. We've got the folding areas here. I'm just going to pull those out. I'm having a look at what has actually happened here where it's been torn. Okay, I might repair that, so I want to pull this piece off here. And then we'll just make a repair here with a bit of washi tape we don't really care for, and put that on the back like that. So now we can see where we need to come with our papers and start piecing them down. Okay, so we're just going to lay this down. This has got a lovely texture on it. I'm not sure if that's showing up, but it was a coffee stained paper, and while the paper was really damp after the dye bath, I put it down on top of bubble wrap, and you can see the impression when I gave it a bit of a push down. I then allowed it to dry like that, and it's created the indentation, and I thought that that was really nice because it reminded me of honeycomb. So it's quite fun to dry your papers over the top of something like that, anything with a bit of a texture that will leave an impression in your paper, like an embossed, a reverse emboss. Really good fun. Okay, and now I'm going to add this scrap of this really lovely handmade paper, mulberry paper I think it is. It's just really nice, a nice offcut. I'm just going to tuck that in under there, and then I'm going to stick this one down over the top of my mulberry paper. These are just lovely scraps that I've kept. They've got little petals and flecks of grasses in them. So all these papers inspire me from nature. We've got here this sort of honeycomb idea where the paper has been put over the bubble wrap. We've got this beautiful mulberry paper here with a lovely texture, and then this paper's got some grasses and petals embedded into it, and this one as well. Really nice and definitely reminding me of nature. So I'm going to glue this piece down here. And then this is just some handmade paper that I made several years ago. Just coming to the end of it, we definitely need to make some more of that. All right, now I'm cutting off the excess here to give us back the look of our envelope. And just cutting round. Some of the raggedy edges can stay, they look quite fun. So I'm just putting back where the folds need to be. Cutting in my corners. And just cutting that away now, so we have this. This is going to be an envelope. So this flimsy envelope has been strengthened up, and it's looking all the more fabulous for the paper embellishment that we've now put on there, so we can see different textures, and that's how it's looking. Okay, and now I've transformed this envelope into something much more exciting. I'm going to put in my fold here. So this can now be a flap that either comes down, forms the envelope, or it can wrap around a page. So we've got that so far, and then I'm just going to fold in these pieces if we want them, and have a look at how that is. Okay, now we've got that all on there. That was fun to make, and it looks great, and we can bring those in, we can glue those if we want. We've got ourselves a very nice altered envelope, and that looks fantastic. You could have writing space on that, you can stamp on it, you can embellish it further, and we can definitely add our pumpkin, and this all looks great. And if we want a label up there, we could do that. We've also got this part which can hook over the page, and it would come and live in the journal like that if we wanted it to. And then you would be able to flip open this bit, and also you would be able to get into it there, and you can have a thumb hole as well. So that's one idea for this. So the other idea is that we can embellish the inside, and then you could bend that back, and this becomes something that gets stuck down onto the journal. That comes and lives in the pages like that. We have our pumpkin on the front, and then this would fold out and give you writing space. So there you could have some lined paper, you could have coffee paper, you could have anything you want paper, you could have napkin, you could have anything. So you could have it like that, and it's not an envelope, but it's a folding out something or other, and the whole thing would flip over this way to give you another page. So that's another way of using this altered envelope idea, and that was just something that came through the post as a piece of junk. It now has potential. We can either have it as an envelope and put a paper clip on it, and that will all be lovely, and you could have this as a journaling card, and the whole thing matches, looks great. You can wrap it around a page like this. You could have a paper clip there so that you can remove it, or you could glue it down like that on the top, on the bottom, and that becomes a tuck. So you could do that. That's another idea. Then if it's maybe stuck down, you would be able to lift it open like that, and you can either glue these two parts down so that you've got a traditional envelope or a pouch or a pocket or a tuck. You can have a dip cut out so that you can easily get to the things, or you could leave it and you could have it as writing space. You would flip that open, you could glue in some lined paper and that'd be more writing space. You could keep that inside, you could embellish, and it's all quite lovely. It is a little bit thicker now because we've got the different papers on there, but you know, there's lots of options. So I think the best thing to do is to line it with something that could potentially become writing space. Then my swap partner can decide how she would like to use it, whether she wants to keep it as a fold out and writing space, or whether she wants to glue it and have it as an envelope and be able to put things inside. So there's lots of options there. But before we do any of that, we want to make sure that our tag fits, and I've got a feeling that it doesn't. So in which case we're going to have to embellish it further and take the project to a next level. Now, I did say that the tag should really be able to fit inside the envelope. Well, I'm going to struggle with that, and I'm also looking at my envelope, and if I make it any taller, it's going to be poking out the top. But it's not much, it's only a little bit, and it probably could get away with it coming out as far as that. So if it were as far as that, my tag definitely would fit in there, and it would accommodate this little knot piece that I've got at the top there, and then that would slip in. So if it was just made a little bit bigger, then that would work. Okay, let's think along those lines, because what I'm going to do is some Franken-Paper, and for that I am going to extend my page out a little bit. So to achieve Franken-Paper and to achieve a window at the same time, I'm going to tear it in half. Ta-da! Now I'm going to remove a section, and I'm going to tear here as well. So I'm keeping the end pieces, and I'm going to insert a middle piece, but I shall keep this because that's now a very cool scrap for something else. Okay, so my journal page is working out at 21 centimetres. I'm going to want an envelope that's 22 centimetres, so I just want to increase this by a centimetre. I think then I'll be able to get my tag in, and it won't overhang too much either side. That would be concealed by the journal cover anyway. We're going to go with it. Now let's have a look at our window. Okay, so this is straight away, it's too short, so that's not the right piece of paper for us. I've then got this embossed paper, which I think I prefer. It's the right length, and it is more interesting because it's got a texture on it. So I think I'll go with that. It's nature inspired. It's got some vines and swirls on it. It's not the right length that way, so we're going to go this way with it. Okay, so I've got wax paper here that I want to put onto the paper. If I glue it, it will probably come apart, so I'm going to be sewing it. Okay, so just to keep it in place, I've put a paper clip there. I am now positioning this where I want it, which is at 22 centimetres. So I'm going to put my ruler there, have a look, bring this down. Sorry about the glare, we're losing the light here, but I'm just going to bring the line down to my 22 centimetre mark. You can see that is 8 3/4 inches for this. And then I am going to pin that in place because this is where I want my stitching to go, along here and along here. So I will do a straight stitch matching the wibbly wobbly line of my torn edge here and here, and then we can bring it back and we'll be able to see the two pieces will have been attached. Now that was a lot of fun. I've come back, I've torn this piece away so we can start to see the envelope. I'm going to remove my paper clip, turn it over, you can see how it looks here. So I've captured it in, but very barely there. I might go and run another line down in a minute. So what I would do now is just put the ruler there, and then I would just tear that piece away. Okay, this is the back of it. That's all torn away. and remove that piece as well. So that's a scrap for another time. That's the inner workings of it. You can see that. We need to cover this with something else potentially. So this is what we've got so far. This is our window, and if we have our tag and we put that over the tag, we could see that through. I'm thinking now, because I've got the embossed window here, that maybe that's not as interesting, so we might want to back that with something else. I'm just going to take that away. And also I've realised that I wanted to put this in as an insert, and that was so much fun. So I'm thinking now I'm going to do more Franken-Paper. I'm going to rip this piece down and I'm going to insert that piece. I've realised that I've ended up with 21 centimetres again, so I haven't achieved anything in the length in order to fit my tag in, if indeed I want my tag to go in there at all. But what I do want is a little strip of this map definitions in there. I just think that that's going to look nice. So I'm going to tear this down, and I'm just sort of controlling the tear as best I can. It's a bit tricky because that's quite a nice paper and it's got a mind of its own, so we'll just tear that piece away there. Okay, so this is definitely the piece that I want because that's got the flaps on it, and I'm just going to insert this, although I better get it the right way up. I'm going to add that in, go to the sewing machine, and then that will create the length I'm hoping for. Okay, back from the sewing machine, looking like this with a zigzag stitch and this just cool peep through. And then over on the back I've just torn it away like we did before. A little bit of a knot there, don't think that matters. Quite fun. Right, next thing to do then is I want to line this, and I'm thinking that I would like to see something through, and I think this is a good candidate for a double-sided paper. I'm going to be using this, which is my spice paper that you can get over on the Ko-fi shop. The link is below in the description. So this is a background paper, but it can be printed double-sided, and then you can fold that up into an envelope as well, so that would work. And then that looks quite nice for this time of year. So I'm pleased with that. So I'm going to bring that round and we'll just have a look at where we would like it. So you can see the spice is peeping through here, so I'm going to go with that. I'm going to turn that round, and where I've got some paper, take my glue. I'm just going to stick over the top of this washi tape, and it doesn't matter if my paper doesn't fit over these flap areas because they will probably be glued down anyway if we're going to make an envelope. I'm not sure at the moment, but it's definitely going to have a nice lining, so we'll just put down the glue and then we can see how we feel. I won't put glue over the top of my wax paper, so there is a possibility to put things underneath there like a shaker. Yeah, I think that's okay. So just put that in. I'll just cut the little corners off there and there, and then, well, I'm probably going to go around with the sewing machine one last time all the way around. And down here there we go, and that's another scrap that I can use. Really fun. And then all I need to do is just put my folds back in. Alright, using the bone folder, I'm just carefully putting my folds back in. And then this is the envelope, just bring that in. That's how that's looking. So there we go, that is my Franken-Paper envelope, and I think we could have something fun slipped inside there. Now I found these leaves, so they are gold embellishments, and I'm just thinking that it might be quite fun to slip those in there. And then I'm going to sew it shut. So I'm going to put those in there. They'll act as a shaker. They can be moved. There's one, and there's the other one in there. And I will come back from the sewing machine in a minute and we'll just see what the final envelope looks like and how it's going to work with everything else. Okay, here we have the envelope back from the sewing machine, looking rather smart, all folded up, and here is the inside with the spices. So there we have it. Now the sides here aren't looking too smart, so I'm just going to neaten those up. I've got some tape here from Tim Holtz. It's a fabric tape, and I'm just going to put that down there for a little bit of contrast to all the botanicals. We're just going to have some ledger paper there. You can make your own with ribbon or anything really, any fabric that you might have, any offcuts, just stick it to some sticky tape, and then there we go. It's sort of a nice texture and it adds some strength down the sides should you need it. These fold in, this folds down. Glue or tape can be added there to create an envelope. I've cut a strip off here to make things easy to get them in and out. I'm not going to stick it down because I think it's quite fun to be able to open it up and then this be writing space. You could add something in there, a notepad, further embellishment, or it can just house the tag. So we're going to see if that fits. And moment of truth, does the tag fit inside the envelope? Let's have a look. I mean, it will. If everything were to be stuck down, that would slide in there nicely. So the size is right. That goes in. And then that will fold down over the top. So there's loads of ideas there already. You can see at what point in this project you would have stopped and you would have been very happy with what you had. But let's add the pumpkin embellishment to the front and see what that looks like. I'm going to use a stronger glue here because this is quite a sturdy piece now with all the collage on there, but I'm thinking maybe this could even be a pocket. I've just gone all the way around the edge. I'm going to put this down and leave it as a pocket, so there's an opening at the top there without glue. I'm going to add this down here. And then you can see how it reacts with those gold leaves. You can see through our wax paper that's been embossed. Loads of textures there now. Could be an apple. It's lovely to have spiced apple at this time of year. And then I think I will just see if I can fit in that tag, and I've got a few other bits here. I've got maybe that ladybird could come and find a home, and then I've also got this which I picked out for the colour. Okay, so I've inked around in the darker green ink. I'm going to add that there, I believe, and then I've got this. So what should we do? Should we have it up here? Adding that in there. Alright, so I've got that looking like that. So these were white labels that I've put rusty hinge and brown inks on, and then I've stamped over the top. And I think that that's a nice quick way of achieving some labels. And I'm going to put it up here. I think that's good. Alright, I've got a little bit of this tape here, so I'm going to just add that there. That's it. I'm really happy with that. That's great. Might want something else. And then just to bring the colour up there as well. So we've got 1, 2, 3 colours. I'm going to have a little bit up here. And I'm adding in this little scrap of fabric because we had a piece there. And so it ties the colours in. This lovely orange for our beautiful autumn. Okay, one last check. I do feel like I want something down here. I'm happy that those are plain, but I think something down here. I'm just looking at this scrap of tissue that I've stamped on previously, and I can see some words. So I'm going to just tear this bit out because it says broken pieces fit back together. I think that's perfect for the Franken-Paper that we've been using today, and it's a lovely sentiment, and that is a stamp from Tim Holtz. So I am adding that. It is only part of the quote, the rest I'm afraid has disintegrated, but we can put that there. That's great. And I think we better have the ladybird or ladybug. What do you say? Is it ladybird or ladybug where you're from? I think we're going to call it a ladybird today, and I'd like to see it down there. So we'll just gently roll this over, put some glue, and we're going to add that down. There. Here we go, this is the set. So we have got the pumpkin pocket. We need to demonstrate that. Hold on a minute. Okay, here we have the pumpkin pocket. So we can tuck things in there. That's really fun. And then we've got our tag, which pulls out here with the beetles and the bugs. So that's great. We've seen that already. And then the little door there where you can see the bugs. And then the oversized journaling card, which we made a couple of videos ago. And then the last video that we made showed this cool tag with the pull-out insert with the beetles inside. So that is all one set, and that was the challenge this October. However, it didn't need to be as complicated as I made it. It certainly didn't need to be as involved or as embellished. However, I had the most amount of fun doing this, and I wanted to show you that you can stop at any point in the project and it will still look great. But if you keep going, if you just embellish a little bit more, or you add a bit here, or you create a tuck or a fold or a pocket, or you do something slightly different where you don't seal it shut but you line it with some interesting papers, that gives you so much more to think about and play with and bring to other projects. So she's going to be really pleased with the things I sent her, because I am wrapping it up in this Harry Potter tissue paper. And these are some journaling cards, and they can be made into tags just by cutting the corners off. These are available as freebies on my Ko-fi shop, so you can have a look and download those, and you'll be able to find the spice background paper along with other things as well. So that's all available on Ko-fi with the link below. And now I'm going to package up my project for this month so I can send it off to Jeanette in Birmingham. But I have had the most amount of fun. It's really been great to show you how far you can push a project and just come up with some really fun ideas. I've thoroughly enjoyed that. I'm keeping one for myself for my journal, and moving forwards I'm going to be working on my own nature inspired journal, and I will take you along for the ride. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you found fun, value and inspiration here. Do please click the like button if you thought this was worth your time, and consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and above everything else, just slow down and make crafting time for you. Bye bye now.